For this question, we're still in the second paragraph, and we are going to just look at the word induced, which might be a tough word that you don't know outside of the context of the SAT, but that shouldn't matter. We should be able to get this from context. And luckily here, they are repeating themselves a little bit, so if we read the sentence before, we can kind of see where they're headed. They use a lot of the same words, they're kind of making the same point. So let's start here. Plant physiologists have shown that seeds buried more than about 1 centimeter below the soil surface do not receive enough light to germinate. Okay, so light causes germination. Do the blades of a plow, which can reach more than a foot beneath the soil surface, bring some of these buried seeds to the surface where their germination is induced by exposure to sunlight? Well, they're kind of flipping the words around, but in both cases, they're saying the same thing. Sunlight causes germination. So where their sunlight is induced should mean something like caused by exposure to sunlight. Now, that word isn't in the sentences itself. Sometimes we do find vocab words have some sort of parallel word later or earlier in the sentence. This is a little bit more my own invention, but it's coming from the same place. It's coming from the context of the sentences, so I'm pretty confident that it's right. And now I can go to my choices and see if anything kind of matches with that. Well, lured is very different than caused, right? Lure has a kind of weird negative connotation, like you're tricking someone into something. So we're not tricking the seeds into growing. Established, where their germination is established by exposure to sunlight, that just feels weird. I don't know why established would mean cause. Establish is maybe like create, so maybe that fits. I don't know, that just seems weird, but let's keep it in. Convinced definitely doesn't mean cause, those are just completely different words. And then stimulated, meaning like it causes it, right? So if something stimulates your appetite, then it causes you to be hungry, right? So I think that B and D are kind of close, and I get why people might get this wrong. The answer is stimulated. It just fits better with the situation of like a seed being stimulated to grow. It doesn't get established to grow. It just feels weird. And look, if that doesn't make sense, this is one of those cases where speaking English and, reading in English and watching television in English is going to help you. These are the kinds of distinctions in words that are hard to define. They are more sometimes what's known as idiom or usage. They're the kinds of things that you get just by experiencing and immersing yourself in a language. And so for a lot of students for whom English is their second language, those kinds of distinctions can be difficult because you're not as comfortable with those decisions. And the best advice I can give you is trust your instincts, right? I don't know that looking this up in a dictionary would make one choice more obviously correct. It's more that I just know that stimulated is more right for this situation. That comes from experience. You have a hard time articulating why that's the better choice, but your brain kind of knows because it's seen it in other places and it has a feeling. Trust that feeling and move on. There's no sense in trying to pick this one apart. You either have that feeling or you don't, and there's plenty more points to come. And you've already done a good job of eliminating A and C. So 50-50, definitely still good.